But remember, when I'm being critical, it's not me talking, it's Matt Gaudette, just in case any of you pros are watching this. Hi everyone, my name is Tommy McKee from Sidewalls Lacrosse and welcome back to another video. If I look tired, it's because I am. This last week I spent about 50 hours watching all the PLL games from the regular season and analyzing every single shot taken from every game. I did this so you all have some amazing insight for the start of the PLL Championship Series playoffs. So what I do is record every single shot taken from every game on these shot charts. There are 7 different factors for each shot: goalie handedness, shot placement, shot distance, shot order, shot result, whether or not the shot was a turnover, and the player that took it. For those of you who are familiar with my college lacrosse shooting breakdown, I didn't have player numbers on there, so I added them for the PLL. I decided to add player number to the PLL data, that way I could make more specific videos that dig deeper into the data for each player. I will be showing you the charts for each team after I go over their summary, so if you really want to look at each chart, just pause the video whenever that pops up. Once we've gathered all this data, we can then use it to tell a story about how effective each PLL team is at shooting. So for the rest of this video, I'll be breaking down each team and telling you who I think is least and most effective at shooting. At the end, I'll also give you my prediction for the PLL Championship game. But remember, when I'm being critical, it's not me talking, it's Matt Gaudette, just in case any of you pros are watching this. I do think this video could really help you though, because if you're a goalie, I'm literally telling you the scout on every single player in the league with these shot charts. And if you're a player, I'm giving you the scout on every single goalie from every game. So one thing I want to make clear before we get too far into this is my definition for on-frame shooting. This is directly from my college shooting breakdown video, so if you've already seen this, feel free to skip the next couple minutes. When talking about shooting accuracy, I consider there to be 2 categories for misses: the horizontal miss and the vertical miss. All the shooting locations on the net have the same opportunity for the horizontal miss. So I designated an area that I call on frame. This is the area that extends forever in between the 2 vertical pipes. Just like how the NFL field goal posts technically extend up into eternity forever. It's the same concept. So when you shoot the ball low and on frame, you completely eradicate the vertical miss. If you shoot the ball too low, it turns into a bounce shot. If you're aiming the ball low and you miss high, it's still on cage. So as long as your shot is horizontally accurate when you shoot low, you're always forcing the goalie to make a save. But when you shoot the ball high, you can see that even on-frame shots still have the vertical miss come into play. On a high shot, if your vertical aim is off even just a little bit, that ball might never have a chance to score. Unlike the low shot on frame, that even if your vertical aim is off a little bit there, that ball will always have the chance to score. This fact about low shooting puts a lot of pressure on the goalie. Basically, my theory is that if you want to be the best shooter you can be, help your team win and score the most goals, then you should always shoot the ball off stick low. Or at least that should be your default. Shoot the ball off stick low as much as possible, as if you've never heard that before. The theory could also be simplified down to that you should always default to shooting the ball low rather than high. I know. I ranked all the best places on the goal to shoot during my college lacrosse shooting breakdown. I've also done the same for the PLL. The results for where the best and worst places to shoot are actually different when you go from college to pro, which I thought was very interesting. You'll see that soon. So for each team, I'm going to cover a 1-page summary of their shooting analysis. Let's start with a summary sheet that uses all the shooting data from this PLL regular season. Each team's summary sheet will have their team logo in the top left corner. So you can see this one has the PLL shield. So this is for, again, all the PLL shot data. So let me talk about what's on this sheet. So starting from the top, we've got shots on frame percentage, goals on frame percentage, shooting turnovers, and turnover percentage. The first 2, shots on frame percentage and goals on frame percentage, only encompass the on-frame shots. The shooting turnovers and turnover percentage encompass all shots taken by the team. You can see the goal on the left that has on-frame good and bad shots shows us a breakdown of those shooting percentages on frame and goal percentages on frame for the bad locations of the goal, stick side high, and stick side hip, as well as the good locations of the goal. Stick side low, off stick hip, and off stick high. The goal that has shot tendency on the right shows how often each team shot for each location on the goal. So this is a percentage of their overall shots taken, not just the ones that were on frame. The number between each location on the goal is the ranking for that team in terms of their favorite and least favorite spots to shoot, or how often and how little they shoot on the goal. So you can see in this example, the off-stick low position had 24%. So most people in the PLL are shooting off-stick low, which is the best position on the goal to shoot, and it's the highest percentage, so that's ranked number 1. Stick side high being at 21% and the 3rd most popular place to shoot is not surprising at all considering some of these shot charts that I've done. You see a lot of teams shooting stick side high. The next chart I've put together would be the ideal shot summary for the perfect PLL team. For this chart, I used only goals scored to come up with all the data for the different locations. Remember what I said about the best and worst places to shoot? If you look in the shot tendency goal on the right, you can see the rankings for the best and worst places to shoot on the goal. This is very surprising because the college lacrosse shooting data actually showed that stick side high was the second worst place on the goal to shoot. So it has a ranking of number 5. But when looking at the PLL data, stick side high was actually the third best place to shoot when looking only at the goals scored. So why do I have stick side high still annotated in red then as being in the bad zone? Well, I think that in terms of goals scored, stick side high is looking so good on this chart because that was where a lot of the volume of shots were. So naturally there's going to be more goals scored there than there would at these other locations that weren't shot at as much, like off stick high or off stick hip. But for this summary, I think it was important to use goals only, so that's the way it is here. When I redid the shot tendency goal in the same way I did with the college lacrosse breakdown, I found that the shot locations were the same in terms of best places to shoot and worst places to shoot. So that's why the stick side high position and stick side hip position are still in red on the rest of the shooting summaries. As we go through the summaries for each of these teams, keep in mind the numbers that you saw in the ideal chart, or skip back in the video to go look at them to compare how well teams did or how bad teams did in terms of shooting against what they could have done in a perfect world. So, starting from the worst, the chaos. You can see to the right of the shots on frame percentage, for the chaos it says 4th. That's their ranking between the other 7 teams in the PLL for shots on frame percentage. So, in order to rank the teams from best to worst, all I did was add up those individual rankings. So 4 plus 5 is 9, 9 plus 6, 15, 15 plus 7 is 22. They ended up having the highest score in all those rankings. The team with the least was the best team for shooting. The numbers that stand out for me most for the chaos are shooting turnovers and turnover percentage. They have the worst turnover percentage of all the teams in the PLL. They're turning the ball over on 39% of their shots. Not just shots on frame, all of their shots. Almost half of their shots are turnovers. That's very bad. When you look at their on-frame shooting, they're shooting the ball on frame to the bad locations 33% of the time and only getting goals on 18% of those shots. That's very low. When you look at their good shots on frame, they're shooting the ball on frame 67% of the time and have a 46% shooting percentage for those on-frame shots. That's very good. As far as their shot tendencies go, I love to see that off-stick low is their most popular shooting location and stick side low is second most popular. That's great, and that goes right in line with the ideal shooting locations. I would like to see them move some of their stick side high shots over to the off stick side. You can see that they shoot 19% of their shots to the stick side high location and only 10% off stick high. Off stick high is the second best place on the goal to shoot, and so I'd like to see that number increase from their 4th most popular spot. I actually predicted this year that the Chaos would win the PLL championship. Not looking good for me. My bracket was done in like the first 3 days. So maybe don't listen to what I say in this video. Luckily for you, this video is based on data and not my opinion. I'll give you an updated opinion on the championship using this data at the end. Overall, I think the Chaos have had a great use of low and away, but they just need to take more shots and they can't settle for the stick side. They have a lot of goals left on the table as well. Just think about the goal Curtis Dixon could have buried to beat the Water Dogs. Goals like that are must make. One of their biggest problems though is that they're just not getting enough quality looks on offense. They're playing too slow and loose and they're stagnant off ball. So the Chaos do still have a chance at this thing as long as they can fix that. Next up, the Redwoods. The numbers that stick out most to me on the Redwoods summary are their high shots. 25% of their shots go to the off-stick high. That's the most popular spot for anyone on their team to shoot. And the second most popular shot, stick side high. So going back to my theory for shooting, you have to be able to bury the ball low because that's going to give you the best percentage chance of scoring. That's a fact. The data has repeated it over and over and over again at every level. You just have to have the discipline to bury the ball low. You completely eradicate that miss high, which I think people overlook because it's not always a turnover. But again, other teams are getting those shots low and on goal, and they're going in, and that's why they're having success. The Redwoods are similar to the Chaos in the sense that their offense just isn't generating great scoring opportunities. If you think about their win against the Atlas, that was an 11-10 game, and they scored 8 goals due to 2-pointers. They had 4 2-pointers in that game. I know Sergio's a great player, and I think they need to be shooting those twos more, but they only had 3 goals outside of those 4 2-pointers. Sergio is shooting those 2-pointers as low shots, which is great because they're low bouncers that are going in, but the Redwoods offense has to come together better and score 1-pointers if they want a chance at winning this thing. Next up, the Water Dogs. In my opinion, the Water Dogs shooting is the worst of any team. Having your number 1 spot to shoot be stick side high, you're shooting a quarter of your shots stick side high, that's completely unacceptable at the pro level. I'm not saying that to be mean, it's just something that Andy Copeland has to get through to his guys if they want any chance at winning the championship. If I were him, I would honestly show him this video. If any of you have connections, please try and get this video in front of him so he can show his players, because this is just completely unacceptable. And their record shows that they barely have a chance at winning if they use this strategy. You beat the other worst team in the league at shooting. Congrats. Remember, this isn't me, Tommy, saying this. It's Matt. To me, the number that jumps out is the outlier in their bad on-frame shots. A goals on-frame percentage of 38% at the bad locations being higher than their goals on-frame percentage to good locations is simply because that's where all their volume of shots is going, is to those bad locations. So it makes sense that they virtually got lucky and score more of their goals there than they do to the good locations on the net. To some people, this might look like, hey, we should shoot there more than we should shoot to the good locations on the goal because our goal percentage of 38% is higher than 33%. Again, this is an outlier, and you'll see for the other teams that this is never the case. The Water Dogs just love shooting stick side high. Who knows why? They can argue it all they want, but they're 1-3, so that's all that I need to know. Like the Chaos though, the Water Dogs still have a chance at this thing. Shot placement is such a key part of the game, and also, fortunately for these pro guys, it's one of the easiest things to change. They all know how to shoot to every location on the goal, so having the discipline to shoot low rather than to these high locations is an easy switch for the Water Dogs to make. Personally, I feel like they've had better offensive flow than some of the other teams like the Redwoods and the Atlas, and so if they can simply change the shot placement, I honestly think they have a chance. They competed very well in some of their games. If they had different shot placement, they could easily be 3-1. Next up is America's team, the Atlas. We allowed to do horns down? Didn't Oklahoma or someone get in trouble for that? Whatever. Atlas stink. Honestly, the shooting placement isn't the worst thing in the world for the Atlas. I love that they're shooting low, but instead of always shooting stick side low, they need to start pulling some of these shots to the off stick low side. They've gotten into a lot of saves on the stick side low side, and while again, low shooting is good, if you go to the stick side, there's just a little bit more risk that it's going to get saved. The other thing I'd obviously like to see them change is that stick side high shooting location being their 3rd most popular. I'd like them to pull some of those over to the off stick side as well. But overall, their shooting turnovers aren't that bad. But the problem with that is that it's because they're missing the net. You can see that they've got the worst shots on frame percentage in the league at 60%. So with their offense being so bad, they're just not generating good shot opportunities. So a lot of the shots they take are just desperate, and they're missing the goal on purpose because they know it's a bad shot and it's not going to go in anyway. So they're aiming to the extremes of the pipes. When you compare this to a team like the Chrome, you'll see a lot. They've got a ton of 5-hole goals. But if you look at the Atlas shot charts, you'll repeatedly see empty 5-hole, with the exception of the Water Dogs games, which they put a couple shots down there. Their goals on frame percentage to the good locations of the net is actually pretty good at 38%. The problem is, again, they're just not getting a lot of volume there and not a lot of shots on frame. Personally, I think the Atlas are in big trouble. I really don't think they have a chance of winning this thing at all because their offense is just really bad. I don't want to be too critical in this video to individual players because I'm going to break some of that stuff down later, but I think a big problem for the Atlas is honestly Rob Pennell. The reason no one teaches that back and forth dodge behind the goal that he does, where he just continues to change direction over and over and over again, is because the rest of your team has no idea what you're going to do or where you're going. He's in rhythm with only himself and then is trying to force feed guys that aren't open because their off-ball movement wasn't good due to them not knowing where to be because they didn't know where he was going to be. That sentence was very confusing, but I think you get the point. So to me, I don't think the Atlas are going to be able to fix that problem fast enough to have any success in the playoffs. There's just too many other teams that are dominating right now, and with them having a first-round matchup against the Archers, I think they're obviously eliminated first round. Now we're to the top 3 of the best shooting teams in the league. At number 3, we've got the Archers. The Archers are shooting 3/4 of their shots on frame and that's a very good thing to see. The one glaring problem with the archers is, again, that stick side high position. Like I said at the beginning of the video, the goals to the stick side high location are very misleading. It's definitely not a good place to shoot, and it's one thing that the archers need to change if they want to win this thing. You can see their second most popular place to shoot is off stick low, which is a good thing, but stick side low is their fourth most popular, so I'd like to see them pull more of those high shots down to the lower locations of the goal. Their shots on frame percentage to the good locations of the goal of 71% and goals on frame to that location of 38% is very good. The archers have a real chance to win this thing. We saw when their offense had to go against a great whipsnakes team that they struggled a little bit. But again, part of this fix is going to be shooting to good locations when you have the chance. The archers are another team that has been taking some questionable shots when they have easy chances to bury the ball. Will Manny stands out as one to me. One thing I would add to Will Manny's game is some Canadian composure type finishing. You can see he takes a lot of these one-timer type shots when he's on the low wing on the left side. A lot of these shots he could easily catch the ball, take some cradles, and step in and have a one-on-one with the goalie rather than just trying to fire something quick right away. So even though he might not be turning the ball over there, that's a goal that's left on the table. For the good teams like the Chrome and the Whipsnakes, that's a goal rather than a miss. Remember, I'm not saying this. It's this guy. The Archers' offense is very good, and so I don't think that's the problem for them. I really think that shot placement is going to make a huge difference. If they can catch some of those goals that they've left out on the table, I think they've got a very real shot at winning this thing. Now, the second best shooting team in the PLL. Drum roll. The Chrome. The one number that stands out to me for the Chrome is their shots on frame percentage. 65% is ranked 6th in the PLL. I can look past this because I think what it means from watching their games is that the Chrome are just being more selective than other teams about shooting. I think that the Chrome are smart when they get themselves into situations where they have to shoot, otherwise they're going to turn the ball over. I think sometimes they're missing the net on purpose, taking possession shots, which is making their shots on frame percentage go down. The best thing that I like about their chart is that the Chrome are very committed to shooting the ball low. The two most popular places for them to shoot are stick side low and off stick low. And the Chrome are having great success this year and could easily be 4-0. If you look at their on-frame good and bad shooting, they're shooting 69% of their shots on frame to the good parts of the net. This is creating an insane goals on frame percentage of 63% to the good spots. So what does that say? When they shoot the ball on frame to good locations, they're scoring 63% of the time. That's absolutely insane. Like I said at the start, disciplined shooting will win teams championships. The Chrome have the least shooting turnovers in the league, which in turn has given them the best turnover percentage in terms of shots. Only 20% of their shots are resulting in a turnover. That's very low compared to the other teams. For me, I think it's going to be Chrome and Whipsnakes in the championship game. I think the Chrome is the most disciplined shooting team in the PLL, and you can see the success that that's having for them. Their offense is clicking, and they're not settling for bad shots. When they do shoot, they're taking great shots on goal that are going in more than half the time. My prediction is that the Chrome will make it to the championship game. Who they'll play? Well, that's the next team. The number one ranked shooting team in the PLL, the Whipsnakes. The Whipsnakes have the highest shots on frame percentage of any team in the PLL at 76%. Their goals on frame percentage is almost 50%, so almost half the shots they're taking on frame are going in. They have very low shooting turnovers, and the reason for this is that they love to shoot the ball low. At 29%, the most popular place for a Whipsnakes player to shoot is off stick low. Stick side low is second. If you remember that ideal chart, the data showed that teams should be shooting to the off stick low position 28% of the time and stick side low 22% of the time if they want to have success. The Whipsnakes chart matches up almost perfectly in terms of shot tendency to the ideal shooting chart. Matt Rambo is a field general, and that's something that lots of teams are lacking, which will cost them the PLL championship. The Whipsnakes play extremely unselfish team offense and are very disciplined shooters, and this is causing them to have success yet again this season. And this is no surprise, as the Whipsnakes are again the best team in the PLL. If the Whipsnakes can continue the shooting discipline that they've had thus far, I don't think there's a chance that anyone stops them. So that's going to be a repeat for the Shipsnakes. It is, well, I don't even want to say what time it is right now, but I just finished editing the video. It was really tough, having only one day between the PLL regular season ending and the playoffs starting, so I got it done as fast as I could. I was hoping to get it out last night, but just wasn't going to work out with how slow the camera was uploading everything. So it's up now. I hope you guys enjoy it. I appreciate all the support. I hope you enjoy looking through the shot charts yourselves. I know there's a lot of information in the video, but there will be more videos coming out that take smaller bits of each of these games or players or whatever else that are a little bit more manageable. So hope you enjoy this one though. I'm going to get some sleep now. Peace.